Hey, I'm Angie.
I'm Rhonda, and we are Adventures in Nomadness. So, if I wanted to put a 30-gallon tank of water in the back of the truck, how would I go about doing that, and what do I do with the rest of my stuff?
I don't know, let's figure it out. All right, well, we're out in the Arizona desert, self-isolating like many people are right now, and during the coronavirus, and we found some extra time on our hands. So we are going to try and figure out this project we've been wanting to do. So because we love to boondock, the one big issue we have is not having enough water. So we want to add a 30-gallon tank to the back of our truck, and that's on order. It should be here in a few days, hopefully. And we kind of had a dilemma as what to do with the rest of our stuff. We have all these bins with, various stuff that we have, and we needed more room for that in order to make room for that water tank. So we came up with an idea to put a platform. The platform we want to have kind of multi-use. We also like to still camp without the RV. I know we camp full time, but sometimes we want to go off-road to other spots and maybe be able to sleep in the back of a truck. So this platform project, we wanted to have a platform with the water tank underneath and then still have room for stuff on top with some pull-out drawers.
You'll see that our intent here is to have a pump that we plug in to a 12-volt connection in the back of our canopy, and we'll use that to refill the water in the RV, and we'll also have the capability of pushing water back into the tank. So bottom line is, when we are going to go boondocking, we fill up this new tank and the RV tank, and we'll end up with about 60 gallons of water. Right. This is what I do when Angie pulls out the power tools. I'm very helpful this way.
All right, well, we're starting out. We are figuring this out as we go, so we don't have a set up blueprint on this ahead of time. So what we're doing is we made kind of our side frames, and we're just using 2x4s. And we had some DeWalt 18 volts set up ourselves as far as a trim saw. That works pretty good on this stuff. But fortunately, our friends that we're camping with have a power saw, and we can plug it in. We've got plenty of solar, so that's making things go a little faster. So we've got a few more tools at our disposal right now that we didn't have before. We could have done it with the tools that we have, but it's nice to have some extra options on what we're using. So we've just framed in the sides, and now we're going to go ahead and put the cross pieces in, and we'll get this all framed in, and once we get the pump, we should be able to lift it up and just stick the pump right underneath. All right, on to the next step. So we got our frame done. We basically did these cross beams across here. That way the plywood will lay flat on here and should be pretty strong, so hopefully when we put heavy stuff on top. We did these 48 inches across and then have some bracing in between. And we have a 6.5 foot bed on our F-150 truck. So of course, if you have a bed that you want to do this with, you're just gonna have to cut these to meet the dimensions of your bed. We kind of built most of it out here, have some cutouts for the wheel wells, and then we're going to put this back inside the truck, and should fit pretty good. Whoops. Camera fell. Oops.
Okay, now I'm ready to move it forward.
So we finished our framing yesterday, and now I'm going to cut out the plywood to fit on top. I'm going to use a 2x4 as a guide, so hopefully I can make a straight cut. So my cuts haven't been all that straight. And I just happen to have a couple clamps in our tool work box so that I can use as a guide. So yay! So using the 2x4 as a guide was a pain, but I managed to just follow the line and have a pretty straight cut on the next one, and then we'll do this all over again. What we've done is we've cut out just one side because these are 4x8 pieces of plywood, obviously, and this is 55 inches wide. We'll have to use two pieces, but we can use the leftovers for the drawers that we're going to make later on. And then our plan is to have a water tank under here, and we're going to make a hatch over there. This will be the water tank, and then we're going to hinge these in a couple of different ways. All right, next step. Stealing.
I am putting a base coat of Kills on here to safeguard the wood from weather, because even though it'll be in a fairly dry under the canopy in a fairly dry area, there's a pretty good chance that wet stuff will go in there or will be loading and unloading in the rain.
Hey, we have our whole frame painted, and we cut out some boards and got those painted. We got some piano hinges, and we cut this out in a way that these will lift up this way, and then back here that way, so we can get into all of our stuff no matter where we're at. So I'm just finishing putting the hinge on, and we're waiting for a hinge from the store for the other side. Whee! Woo! Right on!
And how are you opening those?
How am I opening these? I put a little hole in here, and I just stick my finger in there, and away we go. And this is not perfect with the tools and stuff we had, but it'll do the job. Pretty happy with it so far. So Rhonda wants me to talk about my drawers, or at least the drawers we're making for the platform in the back of the truck. So I'm kind of just mocking up one right now to make sure it's going to work for the second one. So far it is. It's going to be pretty heavy, but we were able to use up the last of the plywood that we had, so we really don't have any waste, just a couple of really small pieces that fit perfectly. So we really didn't have any leftovers at all, which was so awesome. And I'm making the bottom right now. I'm going to put some screws in here, and when I get this one done, I'll kind of walk through the dimensions once we're done with the first drawer, and then we'll move on to the second drawer. We finished the drawers, woo! So these are pretty beefy. I've got some 2x4s that we made a frame in, and then this is 1/2-inch plywood, and like I said, we were able to use up all the plywood, so 2 sheets of plywood for this whole project, did the platform and both of the drawers. So I just used a whole bunch of screws, screwed it all together, and it's super sturdy. I'm gonna go to the store and get a couple handles so we can just pull those right out. Because we have a plastic bed liner, these actually pull out pretty easily. But there will be a lot of weight in here, so we may put something plasticky on the bottom of this eventually, maybe like a little Trex railing trim piece or something like that, and it'll slide even easier. And this is literally out of 14 2x4s, we have 3 left, and just that little bit amount of plywood, so we used it all. Well, we got super lucky as we were finishing up our project here, our water tank came in. Yay! So our 30-gallon water tank is now installed in the back, and then we just use some really simple PEX tubing to run it off at an angle and then all the way down. So basically what we could do now is we can attach the hose to this and fill it up, and we tried it yesterday. There's no leaks, and even with just kind of a source that didn't have the best water pressure, it still filled up the tank no problem in about 7 to 10 minutes. So that's great. Now we can just gravity feed that into our RV tank if we need to. We also have a pump that came with the tank that we bought, and I can install, I'll put a link down to that below, but it did come with a pump. We wired the pump because we have 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter right back here. When we had the canopy installed, we wired the pump here to just plug right into that. And then if we need to use the pump, and most of the time we won't have to, but if we need to use the pump, we can just plug it right into here and plug it into our electrical adapter up there. And the drawers are all finished. We're getting ready to load this up now, and everything works really good and it looks great. Okay, so now we have 30 gallons in here and we get to fill the RV. This is so much easier. This actually works just off gravity feed. It's pretty slow, and I could use our pump, but I don't have to be anywhere, so I'm just going to let it gravity feed in. So we have a valve right in here. Our kayak paddles fell on top of it, so it's a little harder to see. There you go. But I'm going to turn that on. Into the tank it goes. How did this turn out? Awesome! So this is the final product, and we were able to put some of our bins up top here, and the drawers slide out. Right now we just got our cases in here, but literally our camp stove and our propane fire pit and a bunch of that kind of stuff will fit in here, so it's really easy access. I did put some handles on here, and I did put them through the 2x4s. And what else? I did put some turnbuckles in here too, to just kind of keep all sides from moving around, and keeps the whole platform in place really well. So that's the final product. If we want to, we can take those bins out. We can put them in the RV if we need to, or if we go up to Alaska, we put them in our cabin up there, and we can put our sleeping bags and our camp pads in here, sleep in here if we want to, and it wouldn't take anything just to pull that stuff out. We can pull the reflectix down too and have ventilation, since the side windows both slide open. So this is how it turned out, and our water hose is right here, so it's really easy to hook up and fill up our tank in the very back underneath, and then also fill up the RV from here. So this has worked out really good. We've used it now for a couple of weeks, and there's absolutely nothing I would change on the way we did it, so love it.